Hi, welcome to the very first ever episode of the It's Just Sport podcast with hersport.ie. My name is Joanne O'Riordan, sports writer with the Irish Times, podcast host and disability activist.
My name is Niamh Talon, founder and creator of Her Sport, and we are delighted to get started on the It's Just Sport podcast.
Niamh, we've known each other for actually a long time, like weirdly, and this is like the first time we've come to collaborate. And I was saying to you by email what I wanted to create with you basically is a series and like interviews and different things where we can just openly reflect, look at, analyze, critique, praise, whatever it is, like women in sport in general. Because I've listened, and you're the same, like I've listened to thousands and thousands of podcasts. I've obviously wrote loads of articles. I've read millions of articles. And I think the one thing that has stuck with me is I'm one of the few people like yourself who just want to call it what it is. It's just sport.
Yeah, with Her Sport, we've created an environment where we cover all things women's sport, and we want to really bring that to the airwaves and bring it to podcast form so that everybody can tune in, learn about the great teams, great athletes that are out there, and start to make connections with them. There's so many great stories to talk about, so many interesting topics. So yeah, it's time to get started.
Yeah, so we're going to break this podcast down in a couple of ways. So, firstly, we want you all to hashtag and tag us on social. So, at Joanne O'Riordan on Instagram, at Joanne O'Riordan_OX on Twitter, and at Her Sport using the hashtag IJS. So, that's IJS for It's Just Sport. We want you to talk to us about whatever it is you're interested in. And secondly, every week we're going to be breaking down the latest news, articles, interviews, you name it. And not just obviously from Ireland. We decided we're going to go as global as we possibly can and bring all the news directly to you. We will also call that feature It's Just Sport, the paper review. Niamh, what else do we have in store?
And finally, we will also have an in-depth interview with some of the biggest sports stars and reflect and look forward to the action that will be happening throughout the year. That's a segment that we'd like to call It's Just Sport, a league of her own. We feature all sports from domestic to international competition and everything in between. More importantly, John, our first episode is going to be about the memorable moments of 2020, a whirlwind that we had the year that was in it. And then we'll touch a little bit about on the Her Sport Awards. So some of the athletes that are included in your memorable moments, I'm sure, are on the list of the nominees for Her Sport Awards. So what moments stood out for you in 2020?
Yeah, so if anyone knows me, they'll honestly know that I'm a total GAN soccer girl, like till the day I die. Like anything with a big ball and we're chasing it, like I'm all about that life. So for me, I think it was great, first of all, to see the rise of the Cork Lady football team again. I know they're kind of, they came second. Obviously, they lost the All Ireland football to Dublin, who claimed their four in a row. But as a Cork person, it was great to see. A revival under Aoife Fitzgerald. I think more nationally, I was so impressed with the soccer and like with football and how things are going. I was so impressed with the likes of Denise O'Sullivan over in North Carolina Courage. She won a load of titles. She was MVP in a club that was like stocked with like absolute like World Cup winning legends. You had Amy Rodriguez, Abby Dahlkemper, like loads of those, Dabina, the Brazilian. And Denise managed to become MVP. And, she actually had the highest, I think it was a possession percentage total throughout the whole league, which is obviously important. If you don't have the ball, how can you win games? And then to see her translate that form over in the Republic of Ireland's women's national team was absolutely huge. Same with Anya O'Gorman, in Peamount United. It was unbelievable. Admittedly, they beat my BFF's Cork, which is, I'm so sad. But it was great to see Peas finally, after about a million goals. I'm being dramatic, it was 3. But after a million goals, to see Anya O'Gorman, Karen Duggan, and Stephanie Roach lift an actual cup. I was talking to Anya recently, and she was saying it's so annoying because we keep winning the league, and everyone seems to forget about the league. And she was like, in my opinion, the league is who's the best team overall because it's like consistent, right? But no, it was so great to see all that. Obviously, look, it was tough that the girls didn't manage to get through against Ukraine. Anya scored that unfortunate own goal, as she likes to tell everyone, her first and her last own goal. And yeah, I think it was just incredible to see, like from an athletics point of view. You had Nadia Power, you have Amy O'Donoghue, you've got the cross country. So yeah, these were all kind of my standout moments, but it was such a big year for women in sport, despite the craziness that was 2020.
Yeah, I think look, I watched some of the games and would have been athletics be something I'd be very tuned into. I was definitely impressed with Peamount United, and I know that they were trying to qualify for the Champions League, and then obviously, were unlucky, but I think they put on a really, really good performance there. soccer wouldn't be something that I'd be really familiar with, having like grown up. It'd be something I would dip in and out of. But yeah, definitely I thought the Irish women's team and teammate stood out this year. Athletics, something that I would follow quite intently. I just thought Ciara McGee and Nadia Power stood out really, really strongly this year. Ciara had a phenomenal season. It's into record after record after record. And I know they were just faced with so many challenges this year in lockdown training, to stay motivated, to, have the Olympics postponed, to not knowing when you're going to compete again. I know Ciara was over in the UK, and the atmosphere that they seem to have in the team house and everything looks brilliant. Looks like they all really get on. I was talking to Ciara a couple of weeks ago, and I was saying that I really follow her gardening segment that she had on Instagram. So when I was talking to her, I said, I was like, oh, how's the garden going? Like, and I know she'd be giving out to them when they'd be kicking the balls around to kind of wrecking her garden. Something that she said that she's claimed ownership of, making sure that everything's okay. But I know then I think her boyfriend or her boyfriend's mum had sent her over a plant, and then the plant had actually had a bit of an accident or something. So then she tried to patch up the plant. But I thought it was a different side that you see. And obviously during lockdown, people are looking to, see what's going on behind the scenes, how people are staying active, motivated and everything. I know they got creative in their training, like they had used wheelie bins to create squat racks and everything just to get the job done. But look, she got that 800 meter record, the first Irish woman to dip under 2 minutes for the 800 meters, which is fantastic. And then just a short space later, she had the 1,000 meter record at Diamond League, which was one of Sonia's records. Yeah. So I think Ciara had a brilliant season. I think she's really looking at 2021, like going into it with a brilliant season under her belt. I'm really looking forward to seeing what she can do. Tokyo 2021 around the corner, and I know she's going in all guns blazing. Bit of cross country hopefully might be on the cards for her as well. I know the cancellation of the Europeans was disappointing for all the athletes, and for it to be in Dublin would have been brilliant, and they're looking at holding it in Dublin again, which is really reassuring. Which had Nadia on the 2019 team, which I guess brings me over to her. I just thought, she took the risk to go and compete abroad, and this did block her from competing at nationals, which was, it's a hard thing to give up as an athlete, particularly if you're up there, in the top of the group, and knowing that a medal opportunity is there. Would have paid off for her. Under 23 records, ending up on all-time lists for the different racing that she had. And there's more to come. She's pursuing Tokyo. And she's still young. There's just so much more there, I think, for her in the next couple of years, which is really exciting to see.
Yeah, like I was going to say, like, it's so weird, isn't it? Like, she was not on anyone's radar for actual Tokyo Original Olympics, let's call it 2020. Yeah. And like all of a sudden, like, as you said, she just burst onto the scene. One thing, all right, like going back to it, I found that like incredibly odd that she had to make the choice of going abroad versus competing at nationals. Like Michelle Finn, steeplechase athlete, she lives like 15 minutes down the road for me. And she was saying like, it's just such a shame that people, like the best athletes had to decide, like make that decision. And therefore, maybe, I'm not saying who wins the races like here nationally, but like as Michelle Finn was saying, there's a question mark because the best athletes may not have necessarily been there.
Yeah, well, Ciara wasn't there either, and whether that's something that she would have come home for or not is another story. It all depends on what fits into her racing calendar. But yeah, look, they made the decision. I know Ciara and Nadia spoke together when Nadia was looking at going abroad, and she got a couple of races under her belt that other people may not have had the opportunity to do. I know people may have tried to do time trials or maybe smaller kind of events racing each other to try and get sharp, but it can be very difficult to go into a national championships having very little racing under your belt. But I think it was really exciting national championships this year. Like they're great performances from a lot of people. I tuned into the cycling national championships as well. Orla Walsh was really impressive. I know she was on Team Pursuit before, and she's now specialising in sprint distances. And she kept people entertained with lockdown as well. Like I know she hightailed at home, she's not based in Ireland, so when lockdown started to hit, she got back to Ireland as quickly as possible. She said they literally liked it. It was like, oh, we better get in before we're locked in Spain.
Thank God she's fast on the bike, right?
But yeah, herself and her brother were one of the few that got gym equipment very quickly and put that in place. That sold out so fast. Everybody was looking for gym equipment.
Oh, ridiculous.
Yeah. But she had an enviable gym. There are so many people I spoke to. They're like, did you see Orla Walsh's gym? I saw Orla Walsh on your takeover and her gym is amazing. I'm so jealous because all the equipment was sold out.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was making that transfer and like she's only been racing, like she's only been cycling a few years and she's so dedicated, I think, to the training. And look, there's obviously natural ability there, but she puts so much into what she does. And I think yeah, her results this year show national records, picking up medals. It'd be really interesting to see what happens for her in the next few years. I think she's a huge like example for people in, you don't have to start sport when you're 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old. She's, I think 30, maybe 31. And she only started cycling a couple of years ago. And like, she is smashing it.
Yeah.
Like, she did so well. But yeah, I spoke to her, must have been early lockdown, and she had said sometimes, you'd be at competitions and she still feels like she's learning and she's learning from other people. And yeah, she's really, really interesting person, I think, and a brilliant role model for people. I think it shows that sport is for everybody. There's something there. You may not fit into the traditional sports that we do here, the more popular ones, and you will find a space there. But what do you think of the rugby?
Yeah, I mean, like the rugby in general, like I found it frustrating because the girls didn't have a timeline, and that really, like, because they're amateurs, and I think people kind of don't realize that. So I was like a teeny bit frustrated. I think I, like everyone else, got like my little jersey in the post, and I was like, oh my God, it's like the Irish jersey, like this is the best thing ever. Like that's never happened before. But I remember talking to Emer Considine, and she was just like, I'd love a date, like I just want a date, like ASAP. But I felt once they got going, they were able to put momentum behind them. And I think that's what this Irish team needs more than anything else. Like, you got Bevan, you've got you've got Emer, you've got Sene, obviously he's back, and all these kind of athletes. And I think at the minute they have such a good blend of youth and experience, and I think that is so important. Like I was at the 2017 World Cup, and look, we know there was different things going on at that time, but it felt like they were lacking like a hunger that like a young player would have necessarily brought. And I think Bevan was like one of the most, like she was perfect for everything that she had done. And I know literally just today she was announced as the Guinness Rugby Female Player of the Year, as Young Female Player of the Year, won the two. And she absolutely deserved it. And I think actually one of my personal highlights was I was driving into Mallow, like 20 minutes from my house. And on the train station, it's like a Guinness sponsored sign, I think, I'm not really too sure. And the sign for the first time ever had the Irish women's rugby team. And now it was funny because in the Six Nations got cancelled because of COVID. But it was the first time that it ever happened, and I remember just thinking like, oh my God, like this is going to inspire like so many people. And I think that's probably what this Irish team is about. And I think you have to look past, they're amateur facing a lot of professionals, like the Frances and the Englands. They're pros. Stuff is going to happen against them. So I think it's important for the Irish team to build results up against, like, the Waleses and the Italys and the Scotlands. We're not going to beat New Zealand and England and France maybe tomorrow morning. But I think with a bit more, I don't have the technical term, but a bit more oomph. And what I mean is like the from the team and from the IRFU in terms of backing them. I think this team could go on to achieve great things. So I think the underage structures are there. Like I know Jenny Murphy is now in charge of the under-20s, and she's someone who's live and die by rugby. Like she's so passionate about it. And to instill that into young girls, I think is super important for blooding a team for the future, especially a team that's looking to maybe forget about the home World Cup. And I know that's really disappointing to say on their behalf, but they're looking to move on. And I think they need to do that ASAP.
Yeah, I think Bevan definitely stood out this year. Like she got handling the ball when it needed. Like she got those tries. Definitely put herself on the map, and I think there's other key players in there that have been doing really well. Like I thought a couple of the matches, Sene stood out so much. Like she was really putting in the work. Linda, really, really impressive. So yeah, it was really exciting to watch. Was that one of the the games in Donnybrook, and it was really exciting, and I think everybody was getting behind it. And we actually ended up sitting behind some like 7 and 8 year olds. They played at half time. When they got up in the stands, I actually thought it was really cool. Like, they were talking about watching sport and watching women's sport on television.
Yeah.
And I think some of them were into soccer and some of them obviously were into rugby, and they were talking about it. They're like, how come you never see Manchester United women's team on television, or Chelsea or Arsenal? And they were like really sassy about it. And they were like, yeah, we only see things when it's like the World Cup and that's over and like this kind of thing. So they'd obviously watched, you know, the World Cup, and they got pretty into it. But they were like really disappointed that there's not as many women's games on TV. So I thought it was quite interesting, like that they've identified it already at, you know, 7, 8, 9 years old. I just thought it was really cool to kind of hear their perspective on it. But, you know, this is why we're here. This is what we're trying to change. But yeah, no, I thought the rugby, hopefully, I know they didn't get to finish their campaign. Obviously, it was cancelled in 2020. I know at the moment it's been pushed back for 2021. I hope that we will see a Six Nations for them. As you said, I think a lot of people don't know the structure of women's rugby and actually how well the Irish team are doing, because like you said, like the English team are professional and some of the French team are professional as well. A lot of people don't understand that some of the other countries in the Six Nations aren't. So I think people understand that and they start to see the performances that the team are putting on, it puts it in a whole new light, because when you understand how much resources are available to, say, the English team, of course they're going to have the edge. And for the Irish team to hold them off, say, as well as they do, and to, you know, really put it in, not like with so many of them working, or, you know, it's impressive. Like, I think professional rugby in general at the moment, it's with COVID, I think we might see it run into a couple of difficulties in the next few months. But like the men, you know, last year were protected because they were all professional. So they were, you know, afforded the opportunity to play the games. The women, you know, it's very difficult to turn around to a place of work and say, oh, hey, can I have 2 months off because I'm playing the Six Nations? Like, if someone's a teacher, or if they're, you know, it's a lot of jobs won't do it for you. No. And do you risk losing your job? Like, where's the funding? Like, what's the support there for you? Like, these teams have to like live. The athletes have to live. So, I think the Irish team in general have been doing well. And when you take the countries that have professional setups, not out of the equation, but if you kind of look at the teams that are all level in that they don't have the professional setups, like Ireland are up there, I think, at the moment, like in the Six Nations anyway.
Like I was going to say, like Ireland individually, if you take them all individually in their positions, and if you just did it in terms of the amateur, if you contextualize it for the amateur countries, I would agree with you in that we have some of the best talent.
Yeah.
I feel like at the minute, the utilization of it isn't necessarily what it should be. And that's not coaching. I'm not talking about that at all. Like, I'm just talking about, as you were saying, the resources that are put in. Like, imagine like Bevan if she was pro. Like, imagine like the levels that she'd be able to achieve if she was able to dedicate 100% of her time to rugby. And I think even what they're missing out on in a way is it's not that like set up careers. And I don't mean it like that. Like, I know, like, my club is Barcelona in soccer, and like, you know, their women's team, they're semi-pro, but the way they're able to do it is they're given jobs within the clubs. So then it flips out. So they're like, okay, we're able to train later 9 o'clock to 10, go in, train a bunch of underage kids, go off and do our studies in the Johan Cruyff Institute, and then 5, 6 o'clock we'll hit up our training again. And they're able to
into each other.
Exactly. And I think that's something maybe the IRFU can need to look at. Now, some of the girls might want it. They might be like, look, I'm happy teaching. I'm happy as a physio. Like, I'm happy as like all this kind of stuff. And that's like good for them, especially if they're able to manage it. Like, Jesus, they're able to manage it so far. But I think just to provide that option to younger girls coming up would make such a difference. And as you said, they're able to maximize their talents and not waste, but they're able to put a 9 to 5 shift in for rugby rather than like teaching a load of kids who are like, maths. And like that's important too, for sure. But if you want to like compete with the elite and you want to be like standard setters and like inspire generations, that's what you need to do. Not haul a girl up from Limerick up to Dublin for training, and she doesn't get back until 3 o'clock in the
Mhm.
morning. Like that's not what you need. People don't want to hear about that. It's not. And I think we have to move past it too in terms of women's sport. Like, I think we have to stop saying, isn't it great she's dedicating her life to teaching and to sport? Like, let's provide a pathway. Let's
Yeah,
do it.
yeah. Yeah, no, I think like look, Baven's still young and like she's in college, so I think
Mm.
sometimes the allowances are made with college athletes. The college will understand and kind of work with them. I think in a professional circumstance, the likes of physio might suit if someone's able to kind of fit it in around their schedule. But there's some careers, like teaching, for example, that is not really conducive with professional sport or semi-professional. And I think, say, like Linda's a nurse. That's very difficult. I know she was flat out
Yeah.
a couple of months and still training away. So yeah, definitely an inspiring lady. Another person that actually stood out, I thought, was Lindsay Peat, and I know we've mentioned a couple of the nominees for the Her Sport Awards, but yeah, Kira is on the Athlete of the Year. Nadia is one of the Young Athletes of the Year, and Baven is on the Young Athlete of the Year nominee list as well. Lindsay is on it as an Athlete of the Year as well. And she was like so strong in some of the games. Wow. She just seemed to be everywhere, covering everything. And I know she's a background in a couple other sports as well. Like she's a background in basketball, and then she would have played with Dublin Gaelic football,
Yep.
who are one of the teams that are nominated, and the rugby team is nominated. But yeah, like I just think it's it was really, really good this year from them, and hopefully we'll see more from them. Like I hope that like Lindsay gets the opportunity to play in this Six Nations and has another few years at rugby. She's really given it a good crack.
Like Lindsay deserves it more, not the award, but Lindsay deserves rugby to be successful more than anyone else. Like what she has put and the roles that she has to do on the pitch, they're not nice roles. Like they're dirty roles that no one wants to be doing. Like no one wants to stick their head in a scrum. I'm sorry. Like no one wants to do that. Lindsay's like, I'll do it. Like no
She's
bother.
brilliant.
Yeah, she's phenomenal.
Yeah, and to think like she only started playing rugby in the last years as well. Like I know she's a background in ball sports, but yeah, I think her athletic abilities are just so impressive that she's been involved in several different sports, and to high levels. It's not easy moving from one to the next. But yeah, I think we had a couple of impressive fighters. We had Leah McCourt headlined Bellator, which is the first woman to headline one of the Bellator events. So she was here in Dublin. That was before lockdown. So one of the things that people got to go and view, and I think it's really cool to be able to have it in Dublin and her headlining it. And she, as an athlete, is just like there's so much going on for her. Like she's so busy, training away. She trains in Dublin. Her daughter's in school up in Belfast. Like she's just a busy mom, and she is like just doing so well in her sport. And I know she's got a really strong team behind her as well. Then we have Katie. Like where do we start?
What do you even say about Katie? Like, I mean, that, like, you could just sit in silence for that name alone. Just be like, yeah, Kate Taylor. And people would just feel like their own voice. Like, look, she's phenomenal. And she provided such a boost during, I think it was at lockdown, maybe the end of lockdown 1, maybe start of 2. She provided such a boost when she was fighting. And like who she was fighting, like her name will always escape me because it's a very Spanish name. And I'm very sorry to all the listeners. Like, her story is incredible. Like I didn't realize she took up boxing because she was a domestic abuse survivor. And like the way Katie Taylor was treating her like a boxer, and then after the fight she was treating her like a normal person. Like that's incredible. Like I think boxing is one of those sports as well where you're so used to like the pushover and like bullying and like that kind of thing. Katie's not like that. Katie just does her own thing. Like she was our Irish Times like sportswoman of the year, like say for 2020. And just the way she sits there and she's like, yeah, thanks for the award, but I have so much to do. I'm like, how can you be so hungry, so talented, and have such a desire and ambition, even though you have achieved so much in your,
Yeah.
like, first of all, her professional career is very young, considering like how long it's been going on, not that long. But I think she, you know what, she's kind of perfect for the legs of Eddie Hearn, because I think Eddie Hearn is like, I know exactly how to push her. I know exactly like the type of promo she needs. She doesn't need the loud, in your face, rah, boxing stuff. Like, she just let Katie do her thing. She's content.
Everyone's so interested in getting to know her. She's like,
Oh yeah,
serious. People want to know what's going on. She just delivers time and time and time again. I think she's just so professional in how she carries herself. She's like a brilliant role model, and so many people respect her and look up to her in Ireland. Ireland's golden girl, really. Everybody just wants to see her succeed, and what she's done for boxing has been phenomenal. Her rematch with Delphine was in 2020 as well, which was another fight.
How long ago does that feel?
I don't know if it feels like it was in 2020, but it was. But
yeah.
I was at the one actually in Madison Square Gardens, and it was deadly. Because there are other Irish fighters as well, and yeah, it's like deadly atmosphere. I know there was a bit of a, did she win, didn't she win, kind of pushback from Delphine's side with the first one. So to get the second win convincingly, and Delphine came out and said, like, yeah, no, like, she deserved it, was good. But look, I think Katie proves herself time and time again. For us, she got the 2019 Athlete of the Year and definitely deserved it. She's a phenomenal athlete. But Caitlin Phelan has come out onto that into that space as well. She's doing really well. I think there's a lot of talented young boxers and fighters coming up in the next few years. I know it's something that Ireland have obviously been successful at, from MMA, UFC to boxing over the last number of years, and it's interesting sports. Look, I know those sports and rugby is not for everybody, but there's so many things out there. We have an exciting year in store. We had some Olympic qualifications in 2020.
Yeah.
Hopefully we will see it go ahead in 2021. Rowing was incredibly successful in 2020.
This is your thing. Like, I'm buzzed for you to talk about rowing. Like, this is what I came on for.
I'd have like athletics and swimming would be big interest as well. Like, I'll be following so much athletics. I don't know, I just like to see how everybody's doing. And I think I obviously have an interest in that type of racing, start, finish line, whoever's over the line first wins, that kind of thing. But yeah, the rowing was brilliant. Sunita, gold medal again, 2-time European champion. She's double world champion as well at the moment. She's just, I think, leading by example. Another lady who's very professional in what she does, and she's just doing so well at the moment. And
she's like a massive Schitt's Creek fan.
Which Schitt's Creek?
Yeah. Sunita loves Schitt's Creek. Like, we were talking about it in like October. She's like, I love Schitt's Creek, and I'm not gonna lie, I did not pair her with Schitt's Creek.
I actually just watched that like a couple of weeks ago. I finished it. I was like, it was one of my lockdown binges, and I feel like I was running out of things to watch, because I feel people send me women in sports stuff all the time, and I was really interested, but you have to switch off sometime. So like, when I was going home from work, I was like, okay, like what I look at, what I see, and like I just felt like there's nothing on Netflix, so I found Schitt's Creek. And I was like, people were like, what are you watching? And I was like, do you know, it's kind of funny, but it's not great, but there's nothing else to watch, so I'm going to power through. I watched the whole thing. Like, I don't even think it took me that long.
I was going to say, like, you actually just probably going to cause this total storm by saying Schitt's Creek is, oh!
No, it was funny. Like, I watched Grace and Frankie. Okay, I watched Grace and Frankie the first lockdown. I thought that was hilarious. Like, that for me, like, yeah, I just thought they were gas. Schitt's Creek was like along those lines, but I just thought, yeah, it was a little much for me. But the humor was certainly there. They're just a bit dramatic, not like, obviously it's kind of silly, but I'm probably maybe, I don't know, Grace and Frankie I would rank higher anyway.
Okay.
For comparing what Neve watched during lockdown. I'm kind of rewatching Grace and Frankie, not gonna lie. So if anyone has any suggestions for what I should start watching, like, let me know.
Flood Neve's DMs. Let's go back to rowing. It's Sunita and Co.
So look, the under 23 Europeans, brilliant. They all did so well. The lightweight pair, the lightweight double, the heavy pair, Claire Fierick in the single, like everyone just did so well. There were so many medals, top like finals left, right, and centre, you know. And so yeah, I think that's really strong for the next couple of years. I know a couple of the athletes are looking to qualify for Tokyo. I know the lightweights are going to give that a good go, see if they can get the lightweight double qualified. There's been big news in rowing. Not a lot of people pay attention to it, but in the Olympics, the only lightweight events for both men and women are the lightweight double sculls.
Yeah,
Traditionally, Ireland would be strong at that. That's what Gary and Paul would be known for, and it's what Ireland has done well at recently. I think the heavyweight programs are coming along and really strong for the next couple of years. But yeah, the girls are going to give a go at qualifying for 2021. But with 2024, they've actually extended the lightweight events, which it bodes well for Ireland.
yeah.
So it's something that we're performing in at the moment. And I know Lydia and Margaret Kremen and Kleena and Aoife are also young at the moment. They've loads more years, so it gives them more time to really get into their own. They're competing at under 23 level, winning at under 23 level. So it just gives them a bit more time to develop. And we spoke to Lydia a couple of weeks ago, and she had just kind of said, to retire at 23 sounds mad, but for her, like, she was looking at this Olympic cycle, and then after under 23, it can be difficult to know where to go as a lightweight. Do you continue competing at World Championships? If the Olympics is the dream and the opportunity is not there, some people may just kind of decide, actually, I'm going to put my focus somewhere else. But the pair has qualified. So the pair and Sunita has qualified in the single. The four are really strong. I think they're really coming into their own. They have a really good group of girls down there that are just training hard, working away. So they'll have their opportunity to qualify in May, I'm going to say. May or June. I think it's May.
I think it's May too, yeah.
Pretty confident it's May. But yeah, I think they gave it a good go, and they've just been getting stronger and stronger. I know they're putting the work down there. They're all down in Cork, everybody together. Seems like a really good atmosphere. So yeah, they had a bronze in the four at the Europeans, Senior Europeans. Yeah, I'm really excited to see how the rowing goes.
And their Instagram takeovers for ye were, and their own, like, comedy gold. Like, I'm sure you have them highlighted. Like, watch them at her sport. Like, watch them. They're so amusing. Like, they're crazy. Like, I want to hang out with them,
I just think, do you know what it is? A lot of teams aren't always based together. So if you look at rugby, if you look at soccer, they're all off doing their own thing, then they come together for a period of time. So getting to know people can be hard, and people are coming and going, and not everyone's even based in Ireland,
Yeah.
But then with the rowing team, like, they're all based down in Cork, they're training together all the time. I say particularly during lockdown, there's been a lot of quality time. But yeah, I think people just get to know each other really well, and it seems like a really good atmosphere and a really good setup that they have, that there's a positive atmosphere. So yeah, they're good fun. I think they're doing really good things for women in sport, women in rowing. And I think they're conscious of that as well, that they want to inspire the next generation. But swimming was good as well. Ellen Walsh had a really, really good swim at the start of the year, which people might. It seems like life before lockdown. It's like, was that 2021?
I know, like, I have no idea. Like, when you're talking like January, February, I'm like, that was like two years ago, Niamh. Like, what are you on about?
Yeah, no, she's been doing really well, and she's so quick. So she broke the 100-meter long course record in butterfly, and I actually saw a race in December 2019, and she's just really putting it in, and yeah, she's a competitor. So she was the first Irish woman to go under 60 seconds for the 100-meter butterfly, and she broke Shauna O'Brien's record. So Ellen is seeking Olympic qualification, whether it's 2021 or whether it's 2024. That's something that she has set out as one of her goals. She's really interesting. She's very takes on her stride.
Yeah.
I know she's works very hard with her coach and everything. I know they work well together, and he's very supportive of what she does. So hopefully we'll see. I don't know. I don't know about Olympic qualification this year, but definitely 2024. I think she's the huge potential. She is going off to the States to go to university, which was just announced in the last couple of weeks, and Mona Kashari is based over there as well. So I think it's really nice that the two of them will actually be there together, because obviously they know each other and they've raced together and that type of thing. Women's swimming at the moment is good, and they're young athletes. I think athletics and swimming at the moment, the talent that's coming up over the next 2 years, growing as well. Honestly, watch this space.
It's crazy.
We just talked about rugby and boxing. There's so much talent there as well. But the swimmers are doing really well. Mona has been competing to high standard for the last couple of years. I know Danielle has broken records, Danielle Hill. So looking forward to seeing them all in action. 2020, Danielle had a back crawl record, 100 meter, I think. But there's a couple of people there in that space that will be looking for Olympic qualification, and they're all young. So lots more time. Typically swimmers retire young, so hopefully the more that we show that women are involved in sport to an older age will continue to inspire people to stay in sport beyond secondary school, beyond college. I know a lot of people kind of drop out at that point, and look at Orla, look at Lindsay Peat, they're doing so well. They're not 18, and they're performing internationally to exceptional level.
Yeah.
But what else is there for you? What other moments stood out?
I was literally when you were talking, I was like, oh my God, the Olympics, as you were saying, maybe not this year, maybe the next Olympic cycle. It's going to be so much fun, because it's been a long time since Ireland. Look, we've had Kate Taylor. We've obviously had a couple of men in between, Thomas Barr, and a couple of those guys. But we need someone to latch onto, and I feel that's what Ireland does well as a country. We need the likes of Ellens, we need Nadia, we need Ciara McGeehan, we need a bunch more that we can just say, oh my God, isn't it great to see them flying the Irish flag? I remember, I think it was Ciara McGeehan after one of the possibly European or maybe Worlds, and she was yeah, she's such an honor to race in the jersey. And I was like, oh my God, that's what you need. You don't need someone who's I can't believe this is what I do. Oh my God, what's going on? But highlights, I think for me, it was great. Look to see Kilkenny obviously finally overcome their demons.
I was about to ask you about the football and about the camogie.
You love upsetting me. You love upsetting me when it comes to not my teams. But no, look, it was great for Kilkenny. It was great for Denise Gall. It was great for Anne Dalton. Great for women like that. Anne has literally just retired in the last 2 weeks or so, right? But it's so, and actually, I don't know if you saw it. This is deviating a bit. She did a lovely article for the Times in the health section where she spoke about her 2 children who were born with IVF with her partner, who also played camogie at Waterford. It was just such a lovely piece. And I think it humanized what we see on the pitch more so than anything else. But anyways, back to Denise Gall and all them. Yeah, Denise was incredible. Look, 3:34 after 5 games and just absolutely flying it. It wasn't normal. And what was interesting with Kilkenny is it felt with the loss of Katie Walsh with her knee injury, it felt they could have been just there again. Will Kilkenny have enough? And just the level of coaching that was instilled into them, the difference that they were, instead of just sitting back and absorbing all the pressure, they used the firepower that they had to such a great advantage. And they made things difficult for Galway. They tacked on great scores. And I think for me, once with Kilkenny, I find that they were never a team to lead. They'd shut you off and they'd keep you maybe 2 points to 1 and they'd be thereabouts, but they'd never kind of get over. But this year was the year they just exploded out of the guns. They were we're going to take the lead, and they were comfortable enough to sit back, invite that pressure, and literally rely on their backs, who just were we've done this for the last 5-10 years. This is nothing to us. And I remember listening to Paddy Murray, Cork camogie, talk about it. He was it can be really frustrating to play a team that sets up like that because it's not attractive camogie. But in my head, I'm if you're just dying to win, let them play however they want to. It's not ugly. It's not ugly. It's not attractive. It's in between. You have to be into tactics, I think, to kind of understand and enjoy it more. So ladies football, again, incredible to see. such a like, to be honest, it was a range this year. I felt Armagh were like the spring of surprises, even though their structure and underage are very good. But they had the likes of Amy Mackin absolutely shooting the lights out. Like she this year, she looked like the most natural forward that I have seen in quite some time. She was scoring goals off the left, right. She was popping them over the bar from all angles. Like she was absolutely going for it, like well deserving of an all-star, like definitely this year, in my honest opinion. And she and the Armagh, Caroline O'Hanlon as well. I know she plays netball. They were able to dictate to Dublin in a way that Dublin have never seen before. Dublin had to pull something else out of the bag that they necessarily wouldn't have used kind of before. And they were lucky, like some of like I don't know if you saw Sinead Ahern's fluke goal in October for Halloween, and everyone was like, "That's like Halloween magic! Like what the hell?" Like like she pinged it from like 45 yards out. It hit off the upright on the right hand side, and whichever way the wind blew, it blew into the net on the left hand side. It was weird. Like I've never seen, and
Spooky.
I think once they won, like once that game was like once they won that game, they were on the races. Like they were off to the races. And I think, look, it was great that Cork were so plucky. I think unlucky that Galway, we know the drama that happened with ladies football. It was unlucky that Galway didn't get an equal opportunity, I suppose, to put it up to Cork that day. Like they were off their feet. Like you could tell they hadn't warmed up or were fit or anything like that. Coming towards the end, like their legs were gone because they hadn't had time to warm up. I'm not critiquing their strength and conditioning. I'm just critiquing the fact they only had 7 minutes to warm up. So that obviously look was a bit of an issue. Hopefully the LGFA, hopefully they've learned from it. Hopefully they've rectified it, and hopefully they can move on. I think another word, Peter Leahy in Mayo, unfortunately, he's now with the Mayo, not the Mayo, the Meath under 20 backroom team. So, it's obviously a little bit doubtful with him too at the minute. You've got Sarah Rowe, you've got the Kelly sisters, you've got up and coming girls with Mayo who are ready to be chomping at the bit. So you're just kind of hoping that they can actually find a way to kick on and maybe challenge a bit more in Connacht. I think that'd be nice. You've also got Tipperary, who are under new management. You've got the likes of Ashley Maloney, who's phenom. You've got Ash Mack, coming back from AFLW. I think she's in Brisbane or Perth. You've got a bunch of those, and I think it is exciting. And I think you've got Meath, who are now coming through into senior level. Let's see what they bring. Like Vicky Wall and all those girls. They've been thereabouts all this time. So hopefully they bring like a fresh kind of perspective to the whole thing, and we'll just see how it goes in 2021, I suppose, if we get a season.
Yeah, I think from the GA perspective, it's really interesting that a lot of the players get opportunity. Sorry, not a lot of players. Some of the players get opportunities to go and play Australian football, and it's brilliant opportunities for them. I know there's a lot of Irish people over there at the moment, and it's just the skills that they can learn and apply from both. It goes kind of hand in hand. So, it's brilliant to see a number of them have that opportunity, to play professionally. But yeah, it's hopefully we'll see a season. It certainly wasn't the season that everybody was expecting in a lot of sports this year. I know people have Ellen was very lucky. Ellen Walsh was very lucky to get her racing in at the start of the year, and she got her name on the map. Then Danielle got her racing in, but after that, swimming didn't really see very much.
No.
COVID hit, and I know they've since had the opportunity to race very few races. I know the ISL did go ahead, but none of the female Irish swimmers were participating in that. It was lucky that some people got the opportunity to race there, but unfortunately it wasn't to be for the Irish athletes this year. But so many sports didn't really get the opportunity to compete this year.
Like basketball is one that sticks out in my mind. Like that was cancelled. Like I was talking to Edel, and she was like, "There's no season," and it's tough. Like it's really hard.
Yeah, no, I think it's if people got in early, if they had some games or they had some competitions early, they were lucky. But other than that, once COVID hit, it was very hard for people. But look, some of the other athletes that are on the list. I mean, Amy Elliott with hockey, Edel Thornton with basketball, Ellen Malloy with soccer. I know Ellen had a great season this year, and
like Ellen,
Irish squad, and
Ellen's vision in terms of playing, like her tactical to use a French expression there, is second to none. This is like one of the most promising young Irish talents
Mhm.
I've seen in quite some time. Like she's someone to get really, really stoked for, because I think
Yeah.
if, especially the way Vera likes to play, like Vera's Dutch, right? So Vera's going to go back to Johan Cruyff instincts, where she wants a person to sit in midfield to like carry the ball through, but also play the perfect pass and different things like that. Ellen's your gal. Like when Ellen matures, like she's going to have big clubs knocking on her door. Like, and we've even seen, I know she's not on the list, but Diane Caldwell, like moving over to NC
Yeah.
North Courage or the NC Carolina, like that's incredible for her. Like she's been in Germany for the last few years, plowing her trade, and like what people don't realize is the Courage have lost Abby Dahlkemper, World Cup champion with the USA, to Man City. So Diane is actually filling a gap for Abby, and I think to have Diane ranked as the same level as Abby Dahlkemper, it's huge.
Yeah, yeah, massive. I think yeah, Ellen, she's so down to earth, like she's so chill, she just loves football. So
Yeah.
I think for her that's the focus, you know what I mean? I know a lot of people are kind of recognizing how good she is, how talented she is. She's still so young. But I don't think she'll get caught up in it.
No.
I think she's still focused on playing the game. She loves the game. And then netball. Do you know a lot about netball?
Netball is actually one of like the most, like it's one of those sports that you kind of flick on randomly on Sky Sports, and it's there on Sky Sports Arena all the time, and you see Tracy Neville, the Neville brothers' sister, like ranting away. I know Caroline well, like I know she's playing obviously with Northern Ireland and different things like that, but the girls, it's a minority sport. It's tough. It's
Yeah.
tough to get any recognition, which is
Brilliant to
shame
have
for
them
them.
on the list though this year. So we have Lana Hayes in as one of the young athletes of the year. That's what she was nominated for, which is brilliant. And then the under-17 team was recognised for a team of the year as well. So hopefully that will draw a few more eyes to the sport, show people that there are other options out there if they want to try something new. But there's definitely huge potential. There we go again with more people coming up from junior age groups. So, I mean, with a lot of these sports, it's about retaining people in the sport and keeping them interested. But I think if we manage to keep some of these athletes involved for the next few years, there's a lot of potential for Ireland in a lot of different avenues. Like cycling, Lara Gillespie, Mia Griffin, there's lots of people there. Lara's on the list for the Young Athlete of the Year as well. But the Team Pursuit team did very well this year. They set a new record before lockdown. And then I know people were competing at the cycling national championships and road championships and everything. And yeah, really impressive. I think cycling in the last few years on the women's side has been pushing forward, and it seems like they're all in it together, working together, pushing each other on, competing against each other. It's to sit in a group and if everybody's kind of happy with their position, that's one thing. But for people to be competing against each other and driving each other forward is brilliant, and it just bodes well for everyone, because everyone gets faster, the country gets faster, and you just start to see better performances.
Yeah, no, it's super important. I mean, look, I think we've ran through like as many as possible, just for anyone who is interested in terms of like athletes of the year and teams of the year. So obviously, her Sport Award Athlete of the Years and nominees, we've got Denise Gall of Kilkenny Camogie, got Sarah Rowe, Mayo footballer. We've got Kate Taylor. Does she need an introduction? We've got Leah McCourt, MMA, Bellator. We've got Laura Delaney in terms of cricket. We've got Sanita Puspur, rowing, Kira McGee, a middle distance runner, Denise O'Sullivan, Brighton actually footballer and Irish Republic of Ireland player, Orla Walsh, cycling, and we've got Lindsay Peat, rugby. Like it's just such a diverse list, and I think it's a testament obviously to you as a team, but more importantly, it's good to get this recognition out there. Like, you were even talking about the contenders even for team of the year, if you want to run through those, but it's just so great to see a diverse list.
Yeah, no, it's massive. Like, I think people have just got so engaged this year. They're really tuning into different sports, and they're looking for all the different athletes in the different categories to see like who's been performing. So we got so many nominations this year. We've had so many votes. So the winner of the awards will be announced at the end of this month. So if you haven't voted yet, you better get to it soon, because we'll be making the announcement soon. But in relation to the Young Athlete of the Year, we have Amy Elliott with hockey, we have Baden Parsons with rugby, we have Edel Thornton with basketball, Ellen Malloy soccer, Ellen Walsh in swimming, Caitlin Phelan in boxing, Lana Hayes with netball, Lara Gillespie with cycling, Lydia Heafy with rowing. We have Nadia Power with athletics. So there's been a lot of excellent performances from them this year. And then with the team of the year, we have Dublin Ladies Football. We have Eve McChrystal and Katie George Dunleavy with cycling. We have the Irish rugby team, the Irish rowing team, the Irish soccer team, the Irish under-17 netball team, Kilkenny Camogie, Pamela Lee and Catherine Hunt in sailing. They set a new record this year. And then we have Peamount United and the University of Limerick Camogie team, which won the Ashburn Cup this year. So they're stacked. Everything's stacked. It's all really, really good. And look, if people don't know about some of the teams or about some of the athletes, like head over to the website to check out what they've achieved in 2020 and cast your votes. The athletes are there to be recognised for what they've done, and what we want is to see people get to know them, become more familiar with some of the top athletes in the country, and get behind women's sport. There's so much going on, which is obviously what we're here to talk about, and we've covered so much today. It's brilliant. Really looking forward to 2021 and seeing what it brings.
Yeah, Niamh, it was literally such good fun. I had such a great time co-hosting this podcast with you. So guys, we will be back with another Friday podcast, and we will also be launching our paper review. It's Just Sport paper review, and It's Just Sport, a league of our own. We hope you really enjoyed this episode. Feel free to get in contact with us across social media at Her Sport, at Joanne OR on Instagram, and at Joanne OR_OX on Twitter. If you've got any questions, feel free to hit us up. Follow us on Instagram. Slide into our DMs. We're very fun, guys. But more importantly, go on to the Her Sport website, hersport.ie, and don't forget to vote for the 2020 Her Sport Awards. Myself and Niamh have gone through as much as we possibly could in this time. We hope you enjoyed. And thanks very much, Niamh.
I had great fun. I'm waiting to get Netflix recommendations. Obviously, that was something we discussed. So I'm looking forward to hearing some of those. And then also, look, if people have other topics they want us to talk about or people we need to know about, send them in. We will, get talking about them. And I'm looking forward to some interesting conversations this year. So thanks a million, Joanne. Yeah. Looking forward to next week.
Yep. As I enjoy signing off with my usual cheerio. So Niamh, cheerio.